Okay, hello everyone. So this is going to be the second video, and for this section, I'm going to cover essay instruction, formatting, and materials and essay structure. All right. Okay, so I'll start off. Um, so essay instruction. Organization is essential to success. Organizing is a lifelong process. Organizing things begins with questioning, and we will also discuss this in a couple of weeks about the process and act of asking questions. Okay, but you may ask yourself, why is this necessary? What would I get out of doing this? What do I want to do in life? Asking questions is needed to begin organizing things: a home, a relationship, a society, a civilization. In each process of asking questions to organize, questions help identify an issue, and questioning can help approach and organize a response to a situation. A writer has to think about organization, order, and presenting information, as well as how they will write about the topic. When you begin to write an assessment of the manuscript you're assigned, you are engaging in a process where writers and editors work with the manuscript for eventual publication. For this assignment, you are in the position of an editor. You are looking for how effectively the writer has conveyed their point in the assigned essay. This exercise also shows you how to do an academic assessment and critique. I ask you to be critical and fair minded about your assessment and critique. Okay. Yeah. So, like, this is sort of what I mentioned before in class and also in the modules. But let me make this a little more explicit is that um to go through the process of writing is, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a mystery. All right. That you need to take very necessary and concrete steps in order to be able to write quality manuscript. Right. And it sort of goes back to what I suggested, or sorry, when I had you do the module on describing the color black. One of the biggest issues that I noticed is that many of the paragraphs that I read lack the context of what even you were trying to accomplish with that small exercise. You're right. And the other issue as well, and this also goes back to the idea of organization and asking questions, is the perspective. Right. So for many of you, I wrote things like, what perspective did you take, or what perspective is this paragraph sort of addressing? Is it addressing the perspective of the person who sees, or is it trying to address the issue of you as the writer to explain the color black to a person who's blind? None of that was necessarily made clear in the majority of the paragraph that I read. Right. So then this is sort of why I'm doing this, and I'm trying to take meticulous steps in order for you to recognize what this process is. So then within the context of this class or this semester, be able to apply these things in your writing. Okay. All right. So then now I'm going to go to the formatting. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, formatting for this essay is going to be a single essay, meaning that you're just going to submit one essay, right? You're not going to submit like five or six different sections. That's just one, it's too disorganized, and it won't necessarily provide a holistic view of what you're trying to accomplish for this particular assignment or exercise. All right, so following the prompt to how you are to organize and the structure of this essay. Okay, so the essay is going to be between 5 to 7 pages long. All right, and it's going to be double spaced. You're going to use a 12-point font, no other font size, no 12.5 or 12.1 or 11.5 or 13. It's going to be 12.5. And I am going to measure. All right. So I have a thing that I sort of learned from a professor when I was an undergraduate at UC Santa Barbara, is like, this is like 20th century teaching technology. He had a transparency, right? A transparency is just like a clear piece of plastic the size of a paper. And what he would do is he would literally print out like just like 12-point text and he would have like a square that would measure the margins and double spacing and all that. And when you submit your paper, and he would do this in front of 300 students, he would randomly take a paper, and then he would put the transparency on top of the first or second page of the essay. And if the essay did not match exactly the transparency, he would say, "The owner of this paper, which is Valdivia, come pick it up because it's not formatted properly." That's how he did it in front of 300 students to embarrass you. Okay. So fortunately I never did that. I just, gave my name. But this is the thing that you have to sort of like set yourself for, because this is sort of what tends to happen in graduate school, but a little more challenging, because when you go to grad school, right? You're a student, but the relationship between you as a student and the professor in the graduate program and taking courses is that professors take more interest in graduate students, because those people are going to be their future colleagues, right? So you really, hopefully with the course you'll be able to recognize that you have to have a certain type of mindset in order to thrive and succeed in this type of institution. Okay. Yeah, and I know, like, bringing up the conversation in terms of font, all right? But that's sort of the main point. All right, let me go back to this. All right. So you're also going to use Times New Roman, no other fonts, because I'm also going to be checking that. And make sure that the margins are set at 1 inch, for the right and left margins. And then lastly, provide a works cited page at the end of the essay. A works cited page begins on a separate page from the last page of your manuscript. All right. And this is just to get you into the habit of submitting a works cited page. You're not going to do this all the time for me, but this is just the one moment instance that I'm going to ask you to do a works cited page. Okay. All right. So then the next, I'm going to continue. Oh, all right. Here. Oh, this is also important. Sorry. This is something that you definitely need to pay attention to. Okay. And especially if you want to maintain the integrity of your formatting when you submit your work to me at the end of the week. Because if I see the image distorted, because Canvas will distort your document or your manuscript if you save it as a Microsoft Word document or any other format. Before you submit, make sure you save it as a PDF, because like when I talked about aesthetics, if I don't see that it's formatted in the proper way, I will deduct points. Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to make this clear as possible. Okay. So, but if you have any questions, please ask them, email me, come to my office hours on Wednesday, or even visit me if you the virtual class, stop by during my virtual office hours. And for those who are in the face-to-face class, we could also make an appointment via Zoom. Okay. All right. So now the materials. So these are the materials needed to complete this exercise successfully. Richard and Paul and Linda Elder, The Miniature Guide to Critical Thinking Concepts and Tools. Also, Richard and Paul and Linda Elder, How to Write a Paragraph, The Art of Substantive Writing, as well as, and this is something that you should always have when you're sitting in front of your computer, your laptop, or any device when you write, is have an online or physical copy of a dictionary and a thesaurus, or at least have Purdue OWL open in a window so you could use it as your online writing resource lab. Right. And as I mentioned before, this is a online writing lab that is sponsored by Purdue University, that's free to everyone. All right. So I definitely encourage you to visit the Purdue OWL website. Okay. And then lastly, all right. So I'm going to stop here. Okay. And then I'm going to continue with the essay structure and the part one and part two, or the other